It's time for another episode of Love, Marriage, and Fantasy. I am Star Claiborne.
And I am Anton Leonard Claiborne, and we are your global relationship strategists.
We live our marriage on the guided principle no one or no thing.
So, take some time, listen as we make sense of all of this.
Okay, today's episode is Do Mistakes Happen Once? That's what we're going to try to discover and uncover. We will discuss acknowledging possible cycles in daily activities, questioning inappropriate actions. Are people aware of their habits? Preventing the repeated minor actions to avoid major problems. Confrontations do not need to be hostile. And helping your spouse understand the threats that could develop.
Okay, in this episode, we're going to talk about something real interesting. Star, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, so on social media, I found this on Twitter, on my Anton Talk Sex page. Someone posted, a mistake happens only once. Any more than that, then it's a choice that person made. And I want to talk about that. So let's start this discussion for this episode. How do you feel about that? Do you feel when a person does something unconsciously, right?
Okay.
It's a mistake. Yet if they do that same thing again in any fashion, it's then by choice.
Yes. I'm trying to think in my mind of any instances where if something happened twice, it wasn't really a choice, especially when you say, the first time they do it unconsciously. Um, because everything that we do, we have a choice.
Right.
But I don't know because even the first time I have to question if it's necessarily a mistake. I think it all depends.
Well, I would say the first time could honestly be a mistake. And I'm going to I'm
Again,
going
in
to
certain instances.
so I'm going to throw out one of the most extreme instances,
Okay,
right?
all right.
Where a person finds themselves uh, um, doing something sexual with a coworker, right?
Okay.
All right. So it it could be considered a mistake, right? If um, that person and if the two of them were um, uh, entering an office at the same time and her hand just happened to brush against his crotch, right?
Okay.
Okay. So
that's a mistake.
they acknowledge it, right?
Right.
Jokingly, they say something like, "Oh, hey, watch it now," or something like that. Hey, what you trying to do down there? Or or she might comment saying, "Oh, wow, it's kind of full down there," or something.
Okay, stop right there.
But wait, no, let me finish with the scenario. Okay,
Okay.
so they acknowledge, she apologizes. I didn't mean anything by it. Sorry. He accepts her apology, so he doesn't make an issue out of it. Right? They go on about their day. All right. So if that happens again, is it if in any similar fashion, is it intentional?
Okay, let me go back for 1 second. Okay, because I'm going to answer your question.
Okay.
But I'm gonna jump back for a second. So when you said that she accidentally, unconsciously touched that area,
Mm-hmm.
right? And they jokingly, in a fashion, acknowledged it. That's where the first issue is right there. Because at that point, when you're doing that, that is not necessarily, oh, I'm acknowledging this as a mistake. This is, I am very interested in what just happened. So that is opening things up to take it to another level. It is giving it could be giving mixed signals, or it could be giving that signal of really flirting with someone and telling them that, yeah, it was a mistake, but I did like it. So they take it another level because now they think, oh, the way that she responded when she said that, or he responded when it happened, it ends up going to another level. Okay, so keep that in mind. So if you're speaking of the same instance, right, and it happens again, it could be a mistake or it could not be a mistake based off of what may be occurring in the mix, right? Because I will tell you, there have been times that has happened even with my case, but I have not been in that zone where I'm like, oh, no, it's, oh, my bad. Done. Period. Sorry. It's over. You have to be careful what you say
Okay.
after certain instances of making mistakes
Okay.
to show that it truly is a mistake. Otherwise,
Okay.
you will open up other things to start happening. And I think that's where now, if you get into the whole part of somebody taking it a step further and they end up being with this person and they're in a relationship, that's not a mistake because somebody opened that line of communication up just at the initial quote unquote mistake.
So it was intentional if her hand just happens to
It was not.
touch his
I'm not saying
body
it's intentional.
again
No,
in some
no,
way.
no. I'm not saying it is, but I'm saying it potentially could have been
Potentially could have
because
been.
she could have placed herself based off of what he said, showing some type of interest or some type of flirtatious movement or saying something flirtatious to her. His response, she could have put herself in a position to make it seem as though it was another mistake.
Okay, I understand what
But to
you're
answer
saying.
your question 100%, it could have been a mistake. Yes.
Okay. All right. So
And that is one of the extreme instances. So I guess we'll say in an extreme instance, the second time is a mistake. In an extreme instance. But that's why I said it depends on the situation.
all
You
right.
can't necessarily say that the first time is a mistake and the second time is a choice.
Okay. I'm going to disagree with you on that. I'm going to say the second time is absolutely a choice. Without it, I have no doubt about that in my mind because when a person does something and they acknowledge it, they take a picture of that moment in their mind. So then, if they find somehow, right, if they somehow find themselves in a similar situation, but they don't do anything to prevent the
The
same
prevention.
actions,
True.
right? If they don't do anything to prevent the same actions occurring, then it was intentional.
Right. But are you speaking if it's someone else? Because I cannot sit here and say that
It doesn't matter
no, because
well,
there have been instances where I've done the same thing 2 or 3 times, but different places, different environments. Or are you speaking of the exact same situation, same person, same situation, same everything? I mean, because when you're looking at similarities, that's different. But because there's been a few times that I've made mistakes, although it was in, I guess you could say, a similar situation, but it wasn't the same situation. It wasn't the same. So yes, we do consciously take a picture and we say to ourselves, we don't want this to happen again. We have to be more careful. But if you're moving too fast and you're trying to do something and something happens, now it's not. Okay, so you're okay. Never mind. Y'all should see this look on his face.
Right.
Okay,
Because
so wait. Okay,
I
I'm
can
talking
give,
myself. Okay,
I
see,
can give,
this is where talking too much does too much. I get you. I get you. So what he's saying, let me break
okay.
it down for him because I'm
Yeah,
telling him
go
what he's
ahead.
saying.
So I won't have to come in and pull out and present another scenario.
No.
Go ahead.
What he's saying is that you're still not listening to yourself and preventing it because you know you're moving too fast.
That's right.
I,
That's right.
Okay,
because
so talking too much, I just understood it for myself.
Right. Because you are completely aware of what you are doing while you're moving quickly. You know you are aware of it. So,
Right. Because the
I'm
whole idea is you know that when you're moving too quickly, you could make a mistake, as they say.
right.
But the initial action is still the choice that you made. So okay. So let's go to that. The initial action, right?
Yeah, okay. So the initial action, like
it's a choice. Moving too fast is a choice, but what happens in the process could still be a mistake.
What happens in the process if you have not been in that type of situation before, it is a mistake. But if you've been in that situation before and you're moving fast, and you feel like, and see, I feel like I just got to give you another scenario, but it would be something on a less major. But let's say,
but the point is, there's two things. There's the initial action,
okay,
where that causes that reaction, I guess, or that other action, right?
Yes, the initial action.
So we're talking about moving too fast could cause something else to happen.
Yes.
Moving too fast, just like everybody knows, for the most part, I'm going to say for the most part because we never know if everybody knows.
Okay.
Moving too fast can cause things to happen.
Yes.
But what happens as you're moving too fast, depending on what it is, could or could not be a mistake. Because if it's something different, then it's not it's a mistake.
If the environment that you're in is similar and the actions are similar, it's not a mistake.
Okay, I can agree with that.
So that's what I'm saying. There's no way you can say it's a mistake, whether you're moving fast or you're moving slow. But if the environment is similar and the actions are similar, or let's not say both of those. If one or the other is similar, yet no, it will have to be both.
I was about to say,
it would have to be both.
If
the environment is similar and the actions are similar, then it's not a mistake.
I agree with that, but it definitely has to be both.
Yes, it does. It has to be both.
Okay.
So then, I would suggest to our listeners, if your partner comes in the house trying to explain something that happened, and it was something that happened before, then you may want to question, well, what are you doing? Or you may want to question them and ask them, well, are you doing something to cause this?
Right. Because as we're talking about, it's not just one level. It's the initial action could be causing something else to happen.
Right.
And, a lot of people don't really think about that initial action before something else happens, right?
True.
So, yeah. You definitely want to pay attention. And you want to ask.
You do want to ask because they might try to say, well, this just keeps happening. I don't know why I keep doing this. What do you mean you don't know? You would have to ask, what do you mean you don't? Why are you saying you don't know why you keep doing this? You do know why you keep doing it.
But approach it carefully, y'all.
Well, yes, you will want to
approach it carefully if you want to really help your relationship. You don't want to come off extremely defensive in the beginning. You want to hear what they have to say and listen to them. And in the relationship, your goal too is to help your partner. So, there may be some things that they really truly are not aware of that by questioning them in a certain manner, you could help them become more aware of. Now, as far as, the whole infidelity thing, that's a whole nother level in itself. But just like, we were talking about with this extreme incident, you know, how did you respond? How did they respond that may have led someone to say something or have some type of mixed signals that turned into something else that wasn't even supposed to be that signal in the beginning, right? So you have to be careful too, with that. But you definitely want to question your partner, to make sure that they're understanding where they even understand what happened.
Or making sure that they understand how they are playing a part in this cycle of events.
Right. Right.
So then, okay, because we mentioned, making sure that your partner is aware of what they're doing, or make sure they are aware of their part in all of this. Tell me, what do you think about the idea of people being aware of their habits? Do you think that's true? Do you think that everyone is aware of their habits, or do you think that there are some habits that we have that we're just not aware of?
I think there are some that we're not aware of, or that we may know things happen, or that we're doing, but not aware that it's a habit.
Not aware that
we're not aware that it's something that, and when I say a habit, I'm going to link this a little bit further, and I'm going to say that it's happening because of something else, right? They know they're doing something all the time, but to them it's nothing because they don't know why they're doing it.
They know that they're doing something all the time, but to them it's minor.
Right.
But they don't know why they do
it. It's going to be minor until they figure out why they're doing it or figure out the reason, because you do everything for a reason.
We do everything for a reason.
But I do believe that there are certain things that people do that they are not aware that it is a habit. I really do believe that.
Okay, I can agree with that. That there are things that people do
absolutely
that they wouldn't identify as a habit.
Correct.
So, then that person would have to decide whether or not what they are doing is something that's good for them or something that's bad for them.
Right.
That could lead to problems in a relationship if you are coming to me and trying to get me to admit that the way that I don't know, do a particular thing is actually bad for me, but I may have been doing that thing for years. So now we find ourselves, having a heated discussion about something that I don't think is serious.
Okay, but the heated discussion and the arguments only come when there's not a clear understanding.
Okay,
and it also comes in a point where you have to question yourself too when you're bringing something to somebody's attention. When did you decide to have this conversation with your partner? Is it after you've been together for a year? Is it after you got engaged?
Right.
Is it after you got married? Is it after you had kids? Or did you bring this to their attention 3-4 months later down the line when you realized it? Or did you hold on to that and try to say to yourself that, oh, it's okay, it'll be fine, it's nothing, when really internally you're feeling like it's something.
Right.
And the first time you feel that it may be something, you have to bring it up, because if you don't,
right,
if you see something that you feel is a habit, a bad habit for someone, it is your responsibility, and not just in a relationship, period. It's your responsibility as a human. It's your responsibility to bring it to that person's attention and let them know that you see something that could be potentially harmful, not physically harmful, but it could be mentally harmful for them.
Well, if you care about that person.
If you care about that
As a
person.
human. Yeah.
And, it turning into an argument, that's only if I feel as though that's only if you delay it.
If you delay commenting.
If you delay commenting. Because habits form, and there are going to be habits that are going to form even after you might get married, right? You may get married and you've never seen your partner do this or react in a certain way after certain situations, but it's your responsibility to say it once you start realizing and paying attention to the trends of what's happening.
Right.
You have to pay attention in your relationship. You can't say that, oh, just because we're married, just because we're engaged, everything is all good.
Right.
People change, things change, situations change.
Right.
And, there could be certain things that are happening, let's just say at one of our workplaces, that is triggering something which could be a bad habit within us. And then we come home and all of a sudden something happens or something is said.
Right.
And then it starts triggering that same thing, and we start reacting in a different way that we're not used to reacting in because of something that was triggered at work. Right?
Right.
So, and especially if you work together, like, we obviously work together at home. And if there's something going on at work that is triggering something within me to cause anger, you don't know until if I don't tell you that this is happening at work and it's triggering something within me to act a certain way, and then all of a sudden you do it here because we work together.
Right.
And then you notice after 3, 4, 5 times, okay, something isn't right. Why is she acting this way? Well, that's just your time to say something when you realize that.
Correct.
And you don't approach it, again, you can't approach it from a place of anger, a place of defense. You have to approach it in a caring manner. Hey, look, I don't know what's going on, but this is what I'm noticing. Is something happening? And you have to sit down and talk to your partner.
Right. You would have to. And, well, no, I don't.
And I
just think it needs to be addressed, because I'm thinking about those people who find it difficult to confront their partner about something. For those people, and I'm mentioning this because this is something that Star does. She's really good at writing notes and writing letters and things. So for those people who struggle with, addressing serious matters, I would suggest you maybe use that method of writing a letter to your partner and addressing that issue. If you struggle with those type of things, if you struggle with confronting your partner about serious matters, try using the method of writing it down and presenting that note or that letter to your partner, and then that way it opens up room for a conversation without you coming out of your comfort zone, because by you trying to come out of your comfort zone when you're not truly ready to come out, but you want to say something about this, that could lead to an argument, because you may end up saying it and using some harsh words or a strong tone, and your partner takes that as something where you're trying to verbally hurt them.
Right.
So then they'll become defensive.
And another thing, not just writing the letters, but when you're talking to your partner, it's like a meeting. I'm just saying.
It is like a meeting.
So take your notes, write your notes, write down what you need to discuss, before you say, hey, we need to talk. Know what you're going in there to discuss. Have your bullet points ready if that's what you got to do,
right,
to make sure that you address it in a good flow and that you're not getting too upset about it. Because again, if you don't know how to approach the situation, you really need to figure out why. That's number one. Why? What is it about verbally going to your partner and saying, "Hey, we need to talk." Now, in
Well, you know, some people they've never been taught how to confront.
well, that's what I'm telling them
Yeah.
now. You need to figure out why.
Well, yeah. Why? Yeah.
You need to figure out why. And if you can't figure out why, you need to call one of us to help you figure out why.
Yes, we can.
Okay, because that's something we can help you figure out, but you still have to figure out why. You can't just say, "Oh, I was never taught how to do this," because when you go into a relationship and you use that as, and I will say as an excuse.
It is an excuse
As
because there are many ways for you to confront your partner.
Well, not just that. If you use that as an excuse for not addressing things, then it becomes a more serious problem in the relationship. Again, it's your responsibility to understand yourself as well.
Yeah,
you have to, if you feel yourself having a problem in the relationship, you got to take responsibility for yourself. So, figure out a way and understand what it is about confronting that person or having that conversation with your partner, and what can you do to change that wherever your problem lies. Now, one of the things that I learned about having a conversation with you is that, like, there is no conversation if I don't have, like, okay, let's just say I wanted to present something to you about why we should do this versus this. Like, I can't just come with a one-liner because it would be better if we do A, B. No, it's not like that. I gotta be like, it would be better if we do A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, all the way to Z, and then, then I have to allow you a day or so to think about it, and then allow you to address it, and then there's so many and thens with you. So I know that before I present something to you, like, I have to already have proof that it works, or I have to be able to say, okay, this is going to be better because of this and this and this. Like, I can't just say, hey, I think we should do this.
Right. No, you can't.
No, don't do that.
No. But I do the same thing with you when I'm coming to you to talk about something. I'm coming to you with all of the possibilities that could occur.
So let's get back to the habit thing, right? So speaking of that, when you're talking to your partner, if you're seeing that it may be potentially bad for them, it's not just, hey, why do you always do this when this happens? You need to tell them what you're seeing in detail.
Correct.
You need to take note each time it happens. They may not
see what you are seeing.
Right. You need to take note each time it happens about what's actually happening within that time frame that is causing the negative energy or causing that disruption. Because otherwise it's just like, okay, why are you coming at me like this?
Right.
So be ready and be prepared with facts, y'all. I mean, and again, if you don't know how to confront it, you might need to talk to us and let us help you, So
that's something that you need to keep in mind, because you don't want to find yourself being blamed for creating a situation that caused the end of your relationship. Because that's what will happen. Your partner will end up blaming you because you were the one who who started this discussion, which turned into an argument, which led to you guys breaking up. So you don't want that to happen. That is not what you want as the outcome if you're trying to do something to help your partner. If you're trying to do something to help your partner, you want the outcome to be a positive outcome. So, like Star said, make sure you approach this carefully and you go to your partner with supporting details. So that way, when you're talking to your partner, if they have any questions or any concerns, you'll be able to address all their questions and concerns without letting this conversation escalate into an argument.
That's right.
All right. So I hope we have said something to help you. If not, like Star said, you can reach out to us. How can they reach us, Star?
Call us. No. You can call us 678-835-8102, or you can reach us at info@claibornecoaching.com.
info@claibornecoaching.com. We'll talk to y'all in the next episode. That wraps it up for another episode of Love, Marriage, and Fantasy.
Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel at Claiborne Coaching. Download the podcast Love, Marriage, and Fantasy and look us up on Facebook at Claiborne Coaching.
All right, so we'll see you next time.